These are my England player ratings for their final Six Nations match against France. A very disappointing defeat for England, but honestly, a lot of positives to take from it. A lot of really big individual performances. But before we do get into it, guys, if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. If you agree with some of my ratings, let me know in the comments down below. If you disagree as well, let me know. Let's talk about it. But let's get right into it. So first of all, a massive performance from some of these guys in the England team. A lot of people really put their hand up this game, and I think it has answered a few selection issues, but honestly, I think there's still a bigger problem in England rugby right now that has to be answered throughout the year. Who is going to be their best 23 when it comes to the World Cup next year? I don't think any of the selectors know. I'm not sure the coaches even know yet. Maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 guys have really cemented themselves in the team going forward. Other than that, there's a whole lot of open positions for guys to play for. And if you think of some of the big games this year, they still have South Africa, they still have the All Blacks, they still have the Wallabies. They've still got a lot of big games this year, Argentina as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for guys to really put up their hands for that position in the 23 for the opening game of the World Cup next year. There's a lot of time, but also not really a lot of time either. That year is going to fly by, and by the time, before we know it, the World Cup's going to be starting, and England really have to figure out who is their best 23 going forward. But let's get right into it. And number 1, Ellis Genge. I've gone for an 8 out of 10. This was vintage Ellis Genge, a really vintage performance from him. He was a beast around the park. An unfortunate yellow card for him, but he was really solid at scrum time and just looked like the old him around the park, carrying with intent, carrying with aggression, and it just looked like a vintage Ellis Genge performance, which England need more of these performances from him, because some of the performances throughout the Six Nations, he would be good for 20 minutes and then he'd go into hiding, but this was a vintage performance from him, and it's good to see him back at his best. Hopefully he can keep this up at a consistent level going forward. Number 2, Jamie George. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. He was good at set piece and he played his role really well for England, which this is what they expect from him. So a 7 out of 10 for him. Good at line out time, good at set piece, good at scrum time. They need performances like this where guys that aren't just standing out, guys that are just playing their role really well. A solid performance from Jamie George, so a 7 out of 10. Moving on to number 3, Joe Hayes. I've gone for a 7.5 out of 10. Solid at scrum time, physical around the park, and honestly one of England's most consistent players throughout the Six Nations. He's a guy I wasn't too sure of before the Six Nations, because I am a neutral when it comes to this tournament, so I wasn't too aware of him as a player, but he really has stepped up and impressed me, and I think he's impressed a lot of people throughout this tournament. Joe Hayes has been very consistent, and I think he honestly probably will keep that number 3 jersey going forward. I know Will Stewart is going to be coming back, so it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with the prop jerseys going forward for England. Moving on to number 4, Mori Itoje. I've gone for an 8 out of 10 for Mori Itoje. 14 tackles from him, and he really led from the front. He had a really good captain's performance yesterday. I was kind of saying maybe he should get dropped. Maybe his performances haven't been that good now that he's been captain, but he completely proved me wrong yesterday. 14 tackles, and he honestly led as a captain by leading by example yesterday. He played a smart attacking game. He had some really nice little passes as well, and he imposed himself physically. This was a really good performance from Mori Itoje, and guys like Mori Itoje and Ellis Genge need to keep these performances consistently. They need to keep up these performances consistently if they want to get anywhere in the World Cup next year. Moving on to number 5, Alex Coles. I've gone for a 7.5 out of 10. He does the unseen hard work so well. Honestly, he's a key figure in England's engine room right now. He led with 12 tackles when he left the field, and he had the most tackles in the team when he did leave the field. I think it was around the 54th to 60th minute, but Alex Coles had a really good game, and I do like him starting for this team. Yes, he can maybe add some value off the bench, but I think in this England team right now, you have to start your best players, and I think Itoje, Alex Coles and Chesham are 3 of the better players in the forward pack right now. Talking about Ollie Chesham. For Ollie Chesham, I've gone for a 9.5 out of 10. He was my player of the game for England, and to be honest, he was my player of the game in general. I know Louis Bilberry scored 4 tries, but what Ollie Chesham did was absolutely outstanding. I mean, he was everywhere. His interception try was absolutely incredible. It reminded me a bit of Jean de Villiers in his prime, and honestly, he added some size, some physicality, he added some weight to the forward pack, he added some physicality around the field, and I do like Ollie Chesham in the number 6 jersey. It might honestly be something that England can do going forward. They do pride themselves on physicality, and having having a big forward pack like this probably will benefit them going forward. So maybe it is maybe problem solved with Maury Itoje at 4, Alex Coles at 5, and Ollie Chesham at 6. They're all very consistent performers. They always perform at a very high level. They add some physicality and some size to the engine room as well. So I did enjoy that selection, and it really paid off with a 9.5 out of 10 for him. Moving on to number 7, Guy Pepper. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. 11 tackles during his 63 minutes. I mean, he got stuck in as usual. He's a guy that you just know he's going to get stuck in, but I honestly maybe might prefer him coming off the bench right now. I do like a guy like Sam Underhill starting, but you can't go wrong with Guy Pepper either. He's a really hard worker, and I'm excited to see how he plays at club level as well. So he's a guy that's really impressed me throughout the tournament. Maybe I was expecting a little bit more throughout some of the games, but what he does well is he gets stuck in, and he really does the unseen hard work very well for England. You need some of those guys in the team. So you can't have guys that are standout players all the time. You need some guys to really get stuck in and do their role really well. That honestly helps the team a lot. So Guy Pepper, 7 out of 10. Moving on to number 8, Ben Earl. I've gone for an 8 out of 10 for Ben Earl. 16 carries, proving once again to be Mr. Reliable for England, as he's been throughout the entire Six Nations. He's been the most reliable player in the forward pack other than Joe Hayes. He's been a carrying machine. He's been an absolute pest for opposition teams all around the park, and he was the exact same once again. I do think Ben Earl probably is my forward of the Six Nations for England, and if I had to choose a complete Six Nations team of the tournament, he might just get in there, probably on the bench. There are some other guys that are doing really well, but Ben Earl's been phenomenal for England, and he's been one of these guys that have just cemented his jersey in the team. I think maybe the other guys are Maury Itoje, Tommy Freeman, and Ben Earl. Those are probably the 3 guys I think are really safe right now going forward, especially based on their consistent performances throughout the entire tournament. But moving on to number 9, Ben Spencer. I've gone for an 8 out of 10 as well. He adds such a good energy and a bit of unpredictability on attack for England, and I really enjoy that from him, where other guys like Alex Mitchell, they're kind of predictable, but I do think Alex Mitchell was a very good starter in this team, and I think when he comes back, Ben Spencer is the perfect guy to be on the bench for England. Yes, Jack van Poortvliet played a very good game, but Ben Spencer right now is one of the best scrum halves in the world. He's one of the best scrum halves in England, and you have to play him. If you have him in your team, in your squad, you have to play a guy like him. He's so talented, and he just adds so much energy and unpredictability. He played with pace, and he had some really crisp service as well. So an 8 out of 10 for him. Moving on to number 10, Finn Smith, the young Finn Smith. I've gone for an 8 out of 10 as well. A much better performance from Finn Smith this week. A few missed kicks, which will haunt him based on the final score being so close. It will haunt him, but overall, he had a proper controlled performance, and he really led well from the front. A very good performance from the young flower half. Much better performance than last week. Is he the right guy for England right now at number 10? I don't know. Possibly. I think there's a lot of questions still to be asked. I think George Ford and Finn Smith are going to get a lot more opportunities to prove themselves into the starting jersey throughout the year. Moving on to number 11, Caden Murley. I've gone for a 6 out of 10. He looked nervous early on, but he really grew into the game, and he had a much better second half. But his first half was a bit shaky, so I've gone for a 6 out of 10. No real standout moments for him, but overall, I think he's a solid player. I don't think he's a first choice player for England, but he does impress me every single time he plays, and I really enjoy watching him play for Harlequins as well. So I'd like to see him get more opportunities. I think with more game time, he'll maybe get more comfortable early on, but a 6 out of 10 for him in this game. Moving on to number 12, Seb Atkinson. I've gone for a 7.5 out of 10. He stepped up really well as a playmaker for England, and he looked a lot more comfortable alongside Tommy Freeman. So this is the thing from England. They've really been chopping and changing their combinations. So guys haven't really had opportunities to grow into positions and combinations together. So if England do think this combination will work for them, then they need to stick with it going forward. If they think maybe Seb Atkinson at 12 with Ollie Lawrence at 13 when he's healthy, then they just need to stick with that. They need to kind of stick with some of their combinations. Like for instance, Maury Itoje, Alex Coles, and Ollie Chesham. If they think that's going to work for them in the long run, they should just stick with it. They've already changed their team week to week a lot, and it can't be easy to play in a team like that where your combination, you're playing against a different guy that plays a different style every single week. So I do think Seb Atkinson looked really good. He played a good game, so I've given him a 7.5. I think he deserves a 7.5. Moving on to number 13, Tommy Freeman. I've gone for an 8.5 out of 10. He is my backline player of the tournament for England. He's been extremely consistent and he always looks threatening with ball in hand. And scoring a try just seemed inevitable for him. I mean, this guy's absolutely awesome. Whether he plays in the number 13 jersey, whether he plays in the number 14 jersey. I do think with the full strength team, he'll probably be better suited to the number 14 jersey. But he's been really good in the number 13 jersey. And every single time he's played for England, he's been consistent. He's been dangerous. He's been a guy that he's a very high percentage player. He doesn't make many mistakes either. So Tommy Freeman, I've gone for an 8.5 out of 10. Moving on to number 14, Tom Roebuck. I've gone for a 6.5 out of 10 for Tom Roebuck. He was steady. He didn't really stand out at all. And he was honestly left wide open on his wing against Louis Belbery a lot more than I thought he would. It's like they left him behind drive to just fend for himself against one of the best players in world rugby right now. So didn't make him really look the best. But overall, I think the team didn't help him out there either within their structures. So 6.5 for him. No real standout moments, but honestly, a decent Six Nations for him. He probably played a lot more than he thought he would. I honestly didn't think he was going to play at all throughout the Six Nations, but he's played in about 3 or 4 games now, so valuable learning lessons from him. I'm excited to see if he does get more opportunities in the future as well. Moving on to number 15. Elliot Daly. I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Elliot Daly. He didn't cover the backfield well enough with his two wingers. Is it a lack of cohesion or is it a lack of confidence right now? I'm not too sure. There's some moments where he looks so good and some moments where he looks so average, which is unfortunate because he's such a good player. He's got such a high pedigree in this team and he's a British and Irish Lion. He's a game changer at the highest level of rugby. So I'd like to see him get more opportunities, and I do see what the coaches see in him. I just like to see him actually do it. It's a bit of a Gary Ringrose situation right now where Gary Ringrose isn't performing at his best, but they know what they can get from him at his best. That's kind of the same thing with Elliot Daly as well. They know that at his best he can be phenomenal, but right now he's just been a bit average. Moving on to the bench, number 16, Luke Cowan-Dickie. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. A much better, more energized performance from him. He was really slacking over the last few games. People were saying they want Theo Dan in the team. They want Luke Cowan-Dickie dropped, but he had a much better performance. He added a lot of physicality, a lot of energy, which is why I prefer him on the bench to a starting lineup. I think Jamie George is the perfect guy to grind out the first 55, 60 minutes of the game. Then let Luke Cowan-Dickie come on for 20 to 25 minutes, full of energy, full of fitness, and just absolutely cause havoc. That's what he can do. So a 7 out of 10 for him. Moving on to Bevan Rodd. I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Bevan Rodd. Penalised on his first scrum in the game. He just wasn't as good as Ellis Genge. And to be honest, England right now are probably struggling to find depth past Ellis Genge and Joe Hayes. Yes, Will Stewart will be coming back. Yes, there's guys like Finn Baxter as well. There's a lot of guys injured, but right now with the guys they have available, it's a bit of a worrying position for them to be in. But I do think once the other guys are back, things will look a lot better for them. Moving on to number 18, Trevor Davison. I can't give him a score. Unfortunately, he wasn't given enough minutes once again. And if someone plays less than 10 minutes, I don't give them a score because you can't really see what they can do in the game. But this is a bit of a common theme for him. He hasn't really been given enough minutes many times this tournament. There's been a lot of times where I've had to say not available for a score for him. So hopefully Steve Borthwick can get a bit more trust in some of his other players because he's a guy that's been playing in nearly every single game. Yet he hasn't been given the opportunities that other guys have been given. Number 19, Chandler Cunningham South. Same story. I would have liked to see him get more minutes, but he just didn't play enough minutes for me to give him a score. He's a guy that can add a real big impact, a lot of physicality. And imagine you had a guy that had the likes of Amari Toji, Alex Coles, Ollie Chesham, and a Chandler Cunningham South on the field together. That would have been a huge forward pack with a lot of physicality, but unfortunately we didn't see it. Moving on to number 20, Sam Underhill. I've gone for a 6 out of 10. To be honest, in my opinion, he is a much better starter than he is a bench player. I don't see how he adds value from the bench. He's a guy that should be grinding out the first 60 to 70 minutes of a game, then bringing on a guy like Guy Pepper to be full of energy to come on and make a big impact. But I do understand that they might see them as the same style of player between Guy Pepper and Sam Underhill, but Sam Underhill's proven at the highest level so many times that he can be a match winner, he can be a game changer, and he can just grow into the game as it goes on. So a 6 out of 10. He's not really a bench player though, is he? So I think he'll be much better in the starting lineup. And he honestly has a use in this team as a starter, not as a bench player. Moving on to Henry Pollock in the number 21 jersey. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. A very disappointing end to the match for him, which probably will haunt him going forward, but he added value and a lot of impact when he came on, so a lot of positives to take from him. He's been a good impact player throughout the tournament, and right now he is a perfect player to play on the bench for England. So a 7 out of 10 for Henry Pollock. Two more players, number 22, Jack van Portfleet. I've gone for a 7.5 out of 10. Both the nines for England had a really good game. They added some energy, they had crisp service, they played with some pace, and I really enjoyed Jack van Portfleet's cameos off the bench for England. I do think right now he probably is the third choice scrummer for England, but after the next World Cup, anything's possible. He can be the first choice, he can maybe become the second choice after the next World Cup, but I think right now he probably is playing for a spot on the bench, because I know Alex Mitchell is the best starter in the team. But I mean, Ben Spence has just been phenomenal. So right now, England have some really good scrum off options, which is very healthy in the squad. Very healthy competition. Moving on to number 23, Marcus Smith. I've gone for a 7.5 out of 10 for Marcus Smith as well. Made an instant impact when he came onto the field, and he scored a try, showing off some really strong carrying capabilities. He's a guy that's been really good off the bench for England, and he's also one of those guys, same like Van Portfleet, same as Henry Pollock, same as Luke Cowan-Dickie, perfect bench player for England. Not a good starter right now. Yes, he can be a good starter, but a perfect guy to bring on with 20 to 25 minutes where you can just make as much of an impact as possible. If they need a spark, he'll bring a spark, and he did it once again. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. A very, very good game from England. A very disappointing loss, but a lot of positives to take from it. If you guys do agree with my player ratings, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, let's talk about it in the comments as well. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.